Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Sumati Baral, coordinator of this AICT auto-sponsored online faculty development program. Welcome you all to day 4 of our academy. Over the last 3 days, we have explored diverse aspects of healthcare technology, from AI and IoT application to telemedicine and wearable health analytics. Each session has expanded our understanding of how digital transformation is reshaping healthcare system globally. Today, we focus on a topic of immense significance, that is cybersecurity and data privacy in e-health system. In this session, our esteemed speaker, Mr. Ajit Baral, will guide you through the intricate relationship between technology and trust in modern healthcare. We are indeed privileged to have Mr. Baral with us to shed light on such a crucial and evolving dimension of healthcare innovation. Now, to give a formal introduction of our distinguished speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Daksha Prasad Pati to introduce Mr. Ajit Baral. Daksha sir, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. It is my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for session 7 of the Atal 6 Days Faculty Development Program on Smart Health Technology and Innovation. We are honored to welcome Mr. Ajit Baral, Principal Security Architect at Verizon Infusion and USA. Mr. Ajit Baral is a Principal Security Architect at Verizon US with 25 years of experience spanning security architecture, risk management, and solution design across Fortune 50 enterprise. He is a certified CISSP and cloud security professional. His domain expertise include cloud security, data protection, and AI security, where he has led large-scale transformation initiatives, built enterprise security patterns, and advised executive stakeholders on risk-informed design. His work focuses on embedding security by design into modern cloud platforms, safeguards sensitive data, and establishing guardrails for responsible AI adoption. Ajit frequently collaborates with cross-functional teams to translate complex threats into practical control and measurable business outcomes. In his talk, Mr. Ajit will explore how these two disciplines, often discussed separately, are deeply intertwined, particularly within modern healthcare system, where technology and trust must coexist. He will look at the cyber kill chain and Mitre, ATT, and CK and defend frameworks, which together offer a structured way to understand both attacker behavior and defensive readiness. He will also touch on growing privacy challenges in healthcare, the key regulatory frameworks such as HIPAA and GDPR, and the impact of emerging technology on patient data protection. Please, sir, join with us only in welcoming Mr. Ajit Baral for his expert session on this vital topic. Over to sir, Ajit sir.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the nice introductions. And today I am Ajit Kumar Baral, and I work as a principal security architect with Verizon. Verizon is the leading telecommunication in the world, and I work with Verizon since the last seven plus years. And today we are going to discuss about the two different topics, but they are intertwined, and both are related and affect our life every day. One is cybersecurity and privacy. We'll talk about how the two different worlds bridge together, focusing on healthcare where human life meets digital defense. can you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the outline of the presentation for this evening. We will start with the basic. We'll start with what is cyber security, what is cyber, then walk over with what is the core principle of cyber security and what are the risk management framework that cyber
Sir,
security
just
can.
a minute, ma'am, just a minute. Sir, can you please bring your PPT in run mode?
Okay. Set up as slideshow or
Slides.
okay. Does it help? Ma'am?
From beginning. Click on from beginning.
This is the first slide.
Now, just below the menu bar, one toolbar is coming. Just click on that from beginning. Okay, fine.
So this is the outline of the presentation for this evening. We'll start with what is cybersecurity and then run through the what is the core principle of cybersecurity, that is CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And then we will run through some of the key risk management framework that's being used across the industries, and then how cybersecurity can bring privacy into the healthcare world, what is the current challenge in the healthcare world, and how cybersecurity can enhance the privacy in healthcare. So there is a cyber confusion, whether cybersecurity is just one word or it's two word. Actually, both are correct, but it's used differently across different parts of the world. Cybersecurity, one word that's used by CISA in USA more frequently, and CISA stands for Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, Security Agency, and so that they use cybersecurity as one word more frequently, but cybersecurity as two words that's used in Canada, Australia, and Europe more frequently. And the cyber is actually derived from the Greek word called Kubernetes, which means statesman or governor, and it was popularized by the mathematician Nobel winner in his math book Cybernetics. We come across the cyber coolie or cyber crime or cyberspace every day. Cyber roughly translate into digital. And also there are few terms like cybersecurity and information security that changed interchangeably. Cybersecurity, it refers to the focus is protecting electronics data or digital data, the systems that process, transmit, or store the data. Uh, and information security, includes the protections of the data as well as the physical structure, like data center security that comes under information security. And in organization, you never hear about cybersecurity officers. We talk about information security. Information security is broader in scope. It encompasses everything starting uh, cybersecurity is just a part of the information security. For example, in organization, you have a C-level officer, CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. He manages basically all the information security. We never hear about cyber security officer in organization. So information security is the superset and cyber security is part of it. Building security, perimeter security, all those comes under information security, and cyber security is a subset of information security. And the core principle of cybersecurity is CIA triad. CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality refers basically the sensitive of data, how it's protected. Confidentiality means if I am authorized to use the data, I can only see or use the data, nobody else. So only authorized persons can able to uh, see or use the data. That brings the confidentiality. Integrity means accuracy and consistent, and who is authorized to make the changes, he or she can make the changes to the data, nobody else. And availability is data should be available. So it will be, I can able to read and write the data if I am the authorized users. So there are different techniques that can bring confidentiality, integrity, and availability. For confidentiality, we use access control, ACL, access control list. That means they grant you read or write access, so that if you are in that list, if you got the grant, you have been granted read or write access, you can only read or write the data, nobody else. So access control SCL can bring confidentiality. Also data encryption. Data encryption, basically you encrypt the data so that who has the decryption key, he or she can read the data or access the data, nobody else. If you don't have the encryption key, you cannot able to access those data. And integrity, basically it can be implemented through checksum or hash. Basically, say for example, if the data has been hashed, the hash value will be unique. If there is any modifications to the data, you can check whether somebody can modify the data, unauthorized modify the data by checking the hash value. So in from technology standpoint, checksum will bring integrity. Also about the availability, our data should be available when needed, and some of the technology that can brings the availability or enhance the availability is you take the backup, so that if the primary data source is not available, you can restore from the backup. Or you have a secondary systems or redundancy systems, what we call DR systems, or hot standby systems, so that whenever the primary system goes down, you still can able to access the data from the redundant or secondary systems. So, but if you brings the healthcare data, then there will be two more AA, that CIAAA, and the last 2A stands for authenticity, and that is audit. Basically, you can find out whom, if there is data is modified, who modified those data. You have the audit trail of data changes. And then we'll go about the risk management framework. Why this is important, what is risk management framework, and what it's being used for, and some of the risk management framework that we used across the industry. So risks, every company has some risk. We have financial risk, we have reputational risk. Risk is calculated by this formula: threat threat likelihood modified by multiplied by vulnerability multiplied by impact. Threat threat likelihood is how what is the probability that a threat actor will attack the systems. That is T. And vulnerability is kind of a weakness in a system. For example, in your computer, suppose you are using your computer and you are not patching your computer, or it's a old systems and old versions of Windows, and you are not patching properly. That brings basically weakness in the system, that is vulnerability. So here the V is calculated. If the threat actors attack the systems, how likely or what is the probability he will be successful? That is V. And impact means if somebody threat actors attack your systems and he basically gain access to the unauthorized gain access to the system, that is vulnerability, what will be the impact? Is it crippling the systems? Say, for example, some unauthorized users gain access to your systems or your organization. What will be the it? Can it bring this all the systems down, or your systems will be partially operational, 50%, 40%? What is the impact? So these three define the risk. And different companies basically how much risk appetite you have. Sometimes, say for example, you are spending, talk about the financial risk, how much risk you can take. You can put your money buying lottery tickets, or how much you want to put your money into the stock market. So you have to, so that's called your risk appetite. Some organization or some people can take are willing to take high risk, and some people may be risk averse. They don't want to take risk, they want to reduce the risk. So same thing with the organization resource is limited. You cannot eliminate all the risk. So you have to accept certain risk, and so it depends on the organization. If it's a financial organization or educational organization, say for any financial organization, banking systems, they want that their systems should be operational. Customers can able to access their accounts. So they want to spend more money to mitigate the risk. They always want to reduce the risk. So and this is managed by basically how much risk you want to reduce and how you want to reduce the risk. There is a risk management framework. It's a structured, repeatable process designed organization to identify, access, and manage cybersecurity risks throughout the system's life cycle. So we'll go through these words. Identify means basically you identify the systems in your, let's go to the next slide. There I have, and so there are many different risk management framework, and it depends on the organization. Say for example, if it's a federal government in USA, they follow the FedRAMP, and organization can also use ISO 27001. And the credit card industry, they follow the compliance with the PCI DSS systems, and healthcare systems have different compliance rules like DPDP in India, or GDPR in Europe, or other risk framework they must follow if they are in certain industries. And And if you are a cloud-based provider, then you have to certify by certain providers, or you have to follow certain risk management framework. The risk management framework is all about to manage the risk in your organization. And if you are a cloud provider, there is CIS, CMM, a cloud maturity model, you can follow. And in the cybersecurity, these are the 6 phases that one must follow. This is as per the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, CSF 2.0. Before in NIST Cybersecurity, it's widely used. National Institute of Standard and Technology, and they come up with the cybersecurity framework. Before in CSF 1.0, there are 5: identify, protect, detect, respond, recover was there. And in CSF 2.0, the govern phase has been added. So identify, basically you have to identify all your assets in your organization. You have to identify the assets which needs to be protected. You may not, you have thousands of assets inside your organization. You don't need to I you don't need to protect all the asset. You have to identify the assets that needs to be protected. And say, for example, you have high value assets, you need to identify those HBA or high value asset, so that you can put appropriate controls to it. And you have to identify, whenever you are identifying the assets, you have to classify the assets. Say, for example, data. You don't want to controls or apply controls across all the data, or same controls across all the data. You need to classify the data. Data is an asset, your computer server is an asset. Some of them belongs to high value assets that needs stringent controls. Others are not SPS systems, that basically PC, user PC. It's not a high value assets. It does not need um, the same types of control that needs by the financial processing systems. So you have to identify the assets and classify the assets. For example, data is an asset and you have to classify the data. Some of the data is highly confidential, um, and it needs stringent controls. You can classify the data C1, C2, C3, C4. C1's basically it's the trade secret or most confidential data, and you can classify those, identify those data, classify those data C1. Then you have confidential data that belongs to C2 category. Then you have internal data, and there is public data. So public data means it's available online. You don't need to put any controls around those data. If there is a data exfiltrations of those data, this you don't have any impact because it's already available publicly on the internet. And once you identify the assets, you have to protect. So how do you protect the data? There are different methods to protect the data. Protect the data means you are applying the CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So you can use the same technology like access control list and protecting the data through um, uh, encrypting the data, and say you can put the physical security around your data centers. Those are the protections. And detect is another phase in the cybersecurity. Detect means if there is intrusion or there is anomalies, then you able to, or unauthorized users gaining access to the systems, then you have process people in place to detect it. Say, for example, perimeter. If somebody unauthorized gain access to the building, then you have security to detect it. And similarly, in the digital world, if there is intrusion detection systems and intrusion protection systems, and also if they say, for example, in your there is virus protection. So if some virus is gaining access or spreading in your organization, there should be process to detect it. And once you detect it, you have to respond. So suppose in your building some unauthorized user gain access, and so that means detection, protection, and detection might have failed or did not 100% work as it's supposed to be, and then you have to respond. So then security must talk to the persons and take him out of the building. Similarly, in the digital world, once you identify that there is a virus that's spreading in your network, then you have to isolate that virus or isolate that computer systems. Take that, so, say for example, somebody gain unauthorized access to the systems, then you have to stop that person's or you have to detach the systems from your network so that he cannot or the virus cannot spread to other systems in your network. And once you basically it's about containment. Once you find that somebody uh, gain access, unauthorized access to your systems, how you isolate that persons or isolate that process. And recover, basically you find that you have a data breach, then or somebody still stole your data or corrupt your data unauthorized, he or she did not have um, he is not the authorized persons, but he corrupted the data, then how you recover. And recover, basically you can uh, pull the data from the backup, or you put another redundant systems so that data will be recovered. There is no data loss or partial data loss. And govern, basically, as I said, it was added recently last year with CSF 2.0. Govern is about governance. Basically, you put the leadership and accountability. It's basically RESI. Responsibility, you identify who is responsible, who is the data officer, who is the data steward officers, and in case of crisis or identity theft, how you notify the customers. Those you should have basically governance model in place. And who are the attackers? There can be different types. I just want to check. Okay. So there are different types of attackers, and there are script kiddies, there is hacktivists, there is cyber criminals and organized criminals. Then the top one is APT, advanced persistent threat groups. Let's start with this script kiddies. Script kiddies is like they are not very trained. They have limited knowledge about attacks. They just want to show or brag about their capabilities. They don't have much experience with these attacks, and they cannot able to come up with their own script to attack. What they do, they use the script or tools available freely on the internet and do uh, some kind of attack on the website just to brag about their capabilities. And they do not much harm to the organization, and because they don't have any motives, they just want to brag about their capability. Hacktivist, basically it's related to your opinion or political activist. Basically, for example, somebody don't like LGBT, so they post some bad message about the LGBT people, or say for example some political activists, they will deface their political opponents website because they don't like the other political party's ideology. And so they have some experience, but they are not very experienced as a malicious attackers. And cyber criminals and organized criminals can have more experience in cybersecurity attacks. Cyber criminals have some experience, but organized criminals, gangs, they have advanced experience. What these people do, cyber criminals, they try to steal money from normal people, and they try to basically, they used some of the tools, they develop some of the tools, and they try to steal money. Here for cyber criminals and organized criminal gangs, monetary gain is the primary focus. And so, for example, ransomware attacks or somebody stealing the money from my bank, they falls into cyber criminals gang. And organized crime criminal gangs, cyber criminals gang together so that they can form a group and they can target innocent people to siphon their money, or they can even use the ransomware to extract money from different companies. They have some knowledge, they have experience, and they have experience in attacking. And the most dangerous is nation state or APT. APT basically it's backed by the nation state. For example, there are APT 61, APT 41, FIN 6. So they are associated with the countries. They are associated with the country, for example, and those APTs normally um, associated with the companies, and they attack other countries on the direction of their own leadership. For example, there are many APTs that are associated with China, and most of them you can find that their name is ending with pandas, PANDA. And if it's the APT is related to Iran, they have some things related to kitties. And if it's related to Russia, then they have some prefix like bear. And for example, APT 61, it's associated with Russia, and its name is polar bear. And they are very advanced because they some of the APTs, they are government servants. They work for the governments. They have a 9 to 5 jobs. They are basically employees. Their target is to basically they come to office at 9 o'clock, and their only target is to attack other countries, and they get paid for it. So, and they have all the tools, they have all the technology, they have unlimited resource behind them. So APT is the advanced persistent threat, is the most challenging part. And so we are talking how to basically protect from APT groups. Any questions, you can stop me. Otherwise, I will leave around 5-10 minutes at the end of the discussions, presentations to ask any questions, but in between, you can ask me any questions. And why the attackers do, as I said before, some of them basically to display their skills or to brag, they are most inexperienced, and protesting an organization or government actions or policies. For example, Ukraine attackers basically they deface Russian government website, and it's basically protesting the government actions. Or Russia is doing the same thing against Ukraine, and that's about they are protesting about government actions. And the cyber criminals, their main motive is to make monetary gains. Uh, and the APT, they want basically disable a nationally critical organization or systems, or steal the secrets. For example, APT, they some of the Russian APT, they try to bring down the power grid in Ukraine, or they try to bring down the defense systems. Uh, so these are the high value assets the APT wants to bring it down. So motives, attackers are different types, and their motive is different. But the most challenging is APT because they are most advanced. They have their own attack tools. They develop their own attack tools. They have the knowledge and resource behind them to attack high value assets. And as I said, basically, so you need a defense mechanism, and defense mechanism is mostly whenever we are talking about how to protect our digital assets, we are talking about the APTs. We are not talking about script kiddies or hacktivists. They are basically not that much experience. We are talking how we can protect our digital assets from the APT. So cyber kill chain is one of the framework. It was developed something around 2011. It was developed by Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is a USA company. So it's provide how basically the intrusion activities take place. What are the steps you can monitor to identify the intrusion activity, and so they have 7 steps. Cyber kill chain tells that it comes up that intrusion activity normally takes place in 7 steps, and yes, and they are in sequence. Basically, it starts with recon and it's end with action on objectives. It's basically sequentially the attackers travel through this process. First is recon. So this will basically tell you what goes inside the attacker's mindset so that you can try to stop the attackers on any of the steps. These are the sequential 7 steps, and if you can prevent, identify and prevent, detect and prevent the attackers in any of the phase, then you can successfully prevent the attackers. And it starts with the recon. So recon is basically they try to identify which target they want to focus on. Say for example, you have a external facing computers, and the attackers will try to find out which version, where it is running the uh, internet facing website, whether it's hosted on a uh, Windows machine, which version of the Windows is running, and which port it's listening to. Those informations they try to collect in this recon sign. So it's a information gathering phase for the attackers. And then once they find out, say for example, if you are running on Windows server and you have a app server, Apache app server, what is the versions of the app server, all those informations they gathered during the recon, then they go to the next phase. And how do you from the defense, so this is from the attacker or adversary side, he tries to gather the informations before attacking the targets. From defender side, what you do, you can look at the your network logs to find out which the request is coming from, which IP is it from, nearby areas or within India or from different countries, which is an unusual activity. Say for example, you have a web facing applications and some of the request is coming, or it's browsing, um, that request is coming from another country, then you become suspicious. So as a defender, you should look at the logs, network logs, to find out what's the IP the request is coming from. So, and as I said, recon is basically information gathering phase uh, for the adversary or the attackers. And so then once he or she gathers the informations, then it goes to the next phase. That is weaponizations. Then suppose the adversary find out that your Windows is running on an old OS versions, it has some vulnerabilities, and then he or she will try to how to deliver the malicious payload. So uh, he might develop a tool, or he will try to get the tools or buy the tools that will basically um, transfer the virus or weaponize the systems so that it can be delivered. So weaponization is basically trying to find out how to deliver the malicious payload to your systems. And till weaponization, there is no direct contact between the adversary and defender. In the next phase, the first interaction happens. So he find a tools that will deliver, say for example, he find out that, okay, one employee email, and then he can try to send a malicious email that contains some virus to that person's. In the information gathering or recon, he, say for example, he gather valid email or one of the employee, and in weaponization steps he comes up with a PDF file that contains some virus, and in the delivery phase he sent the emails that contains the virus to the employee email. So malicious, in this phase, delivery phase, malicious email has been sent to the employee. And exploitation, basically in this phase, the employee opens this email, and that email contains the virus. And then once he opens, then the installation virus will install or spread. This is the installation phase. And here we have adversary, what adversary is doing and what activities is being performed and what defender can do. And in the next phase, basically command and control or C2. Once basically the employee opens the email that contains the virus basically installed on his laptop or computer, then basically command control has been established so that the adversary can able to control the employees laptop from outside. So that is command control. So command, basically the adversary can pass the command and can take control or get the data out of employee's machine, because he already installed the virus on his machine and he can exfiltrate the data. And so the adversary got full access to the employee's laptop. And then that is the last phase, that is action on objectives. He achieved his missions because he can able to collect the data from the employee's laptop. And once he basically get access to the employee's laptop, then he can lateral move from one computer to another. And so he can travel through the network, whichever network device is connected, whether it's your laptop or my laptop. Once my laptop is basically got virus, it can spread throughout the throughout the network to all the devices that has been connected to the laptop to the network. So this is the action matrix. In what are the tools, how you can, there are basically 6 on the detection side. We have talked about 7 phases on the attack side. On the detection side, there are 6 phases: detect, deny, disrupt, degrade, deceive, and destroy. So and these are the attack phase, these are the defense phase. So recon, basically you use firewalls or you use the web analytics to find out where the request is coming from. Weaponization, basically that is basically for the attackers, and for the defenders you have network intrusion detection systems or network intrusion prevention systems that will basically detect and deny the weaponization. Delivery is important phase. It's vigilant user. If user is basically vigilant, he or she won't able open the email, because open the emails that he received from outside. And proxy filter also helps to, suppose he gets a email from anonymous users or from external users, proxy filter can, before handing over the email to his email box, basically proxy filter will try to detect whether the email is clean or it contains any virus. And inline antivirus software also that can detect if anything virus or malware is attached to the email. And this antivirus software can able to help that one. Exploitation, again, host-based intrusion detection systems. If it's a there are multiple systems like CrowdStrike and other systems that's running on your computer or laptop that will help you to detect and to prevent. Also, patching will help because unless there is vulnerability or weakness in your systems, the attackers cannot exploit your systems. So, making sure your laptop is up to date with the patches will help you to deny the exploitation. Same thing with installation. That is host-based intrusion detection systems and Charot Gel. Charot Gel is like sandbox. The process will be running in a sandbox within a inside a process and within the Charot Gel, it will detect whether it is a safe process or not before uh, taking it out of the sandbox. So this will basically deny if it's malicious. And same with command and control can be detected through network intrusion detection systems, through network intrusion prevention systems, C2 command and control. If that's running in your network, that can be detected. And audit basically whether data exfiltration is happening, those you can find out through the audit logs. And also deceive, you can sometimes deceive honeypot is basically redirecting. You set up a honeypot in your network so that looks like production network, but it's like to deceive the adversary. So you send it to the honeypot and you monitor what the adversary is doing. Adversary is under the wrong impression that he is basically getting the data. He got access to the productions, but it's a fake production, so that you can monitor the activities and find out where the request is coming, what activities the adversary is planning to do, that you can monitor in the honeypot and make necessary adjustment to your detection and prevention system. Cyber kill chain, it helps to defend your systems, but it has some limitations. It's a rigid structure. Basically, it's malware based. It does not cover every threat. It always focus on external threats or insider threats. It's never it won't able to identify the internal threat. It only focus on external threat. And one of the major disadvantage of cyber kill chain is rigid and linear. Basically, stage 1, then stage 2, stage 3. But in real world, the APT specifically, they don't travel linear way. They don't go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. They can directly go to step 2, or they can combine step 2 and step 3 together in one steps. So it has a cyber kill chain provide the protections uh, to some extent, but not against very advanced APT attackers. That's why the MITRE attack came into picture. It came around 2011, and initially MITRE is a organization, and it will go to the next slide. So it's a very powerful risk management framework. It's collected all the tactics used by the APT, and then basically its foundation model is based on three topics. One is tactics, techniques, and procedures. So attack is the abbreviation for adversarial tactics, techniques, and common knowledge. It's a comprehensive matrix of real world adversaries. So what MITRE did, they collected all the tactics that's been used by the APT so far. And so it's kind of a dictionary. They collected all the tactics and what techniques the APT used, and what is then they come up with the defense mechanism. Because if you want to protect your systems, you have to understand what the tactics and techniques that is been used by the adversary. It's developed by MITRE Corporation, so that you can understand what is the tactics and techniques used by the adversary, so that you can uh, put countermeasure, or you can come up with the system or process that will basically deny or detect those techniques and tactics. And it's used across government, industry, and any product development company also. They also use this MITRE framework, so that they can tell their product can detect or deny or mitigate these tactics and techniques. So this is you can go to mitre.org. It's from mitre.org. So initially when they came up, that's only applicable. They come up with 10 tactics, and later, and it was only initially it was only applicable to Windows. Later they enhance it. Now it has 14 tactics and 188 techniques and 379 sub um, sub techniques. So here recon, resource development, initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, defense evasion, those are tactics. Tactics is basically what is the objectives. Uh, so they have 14 tactics and techniques to initial. Say for example, initial is the attackers want initial access, and so what are the techniques they can use, what methods they can use. Say for example, they can do spear phishing, or that is one of the technique, or they can use SQL injection, XSS, scripting. These are some of the techniques to gain initial access. So initial access is the tactics, that is the objective or goal for the adversary, and what methods they used in the past. All these are listed. So there are 14 goals, and they don't the adversary don't need to travel from this recon to resource development, initial access. They can go to step 2, they can go combine step 2, step 3. Basically it's pretty advanced. In the previous one we talk about the recon is same, resource development. Here we're calling it resource development. In the previous cyber kill chain, it's weaponization, resource development, basically developing the resource, how to deliver the malicious payload. And initial access, it's different name, but it's more granular. And how, what are the techniques was not mentioned in the cyber kill chain, but in MITRE attack it's all there. So these are the core components. Tactics, basically adversary goal, what the adversary wants to achieve in the phase, whether it's initial access, execution, persistence, or privilege escalation. Those are what is the adversary goals. That is the tactics. And techniques, method used to achieve that goal. So for example, he wants initial access, how he can get initial access. Sub techniques, there can be multiple ways to achieve the techniques. There might be 3-4 ways, and it's more granular than the techniques. So what are the techniques? Say for example, uh, let's go to the next phase. or here. Say for example, the adversary wants initial access. There are more than 11 techniques he can use. One is basically phishing, sending the emails. So tactics is initial access, and techniques is phishing. And what can be sub techniques? There are 3 or 4 methods of phishing. One is phishing. You are sending a attachment with the email, spear phishing, and there can be another methods like you open you attach a URL, not attachment, but send a URL as part of the spear phishing, and whenever the innocent users click on that uh, URL, basically it will start the actions, basically installing some things underneath. So that can be sub techniques. And procedures, how exactly do its practice. For example, you are doing the SQL injections attack, and then you create the methods like you call, and whenever you are entering the username and password, you instead of password you can say on the high level, I can tell that you can tell that 1:1 instead of password. You can put 1:1. That might also able to bypass the security check. So that will be the procedures. And everything on the MITRE attack, they have a ID. So for example, you can look TA, that is the tactics TA001, and this is the T1566 uh, is the techniques, and 001 because there are multiple spear phishing, spear phishing attachment, spear phishing email. So it will be 001 is basically it will be sub techniques. So techniques is T1566, and sub techniques basically adds 001. So everything has, as I said, every tactics, techniques, and sub techniques, everything has a ID, and so initial access is T1 TA somethings, and the technique ID is 1566, and technique name is phishing, and sub technique's name is 001 1566.001. They have 3 methods, that's why 001, 002, 003. And this is pyramid of pain. Pyramid of pain, basically it stands from the adversary pain. It's not a defender, but whose pain this one is? This is adversary. So this is David Bianco's pyramid of pain. So that tells that this is the pyramid, and this is some of the ways you can the attackers can send the payload. Say for example, if you are trying, I am the defender, and the attacker basically is you. If I am using the hash value to detect the attackers, every virus has a hash value, and if I am using the hash value to check whether it's malicious or not, then it's very easy for the attackers to change the hash value of his malicious payload. So he don't have any pain. And if basically I know that attack is coming from this 127.127, this IP address, and I block this IP address on my systems, it's easy for the attackers to change his IP address. So if I put the block against this IP, it's very easy for the attackers to change his IP address so that he can send from another IP address to bypass my countermeasure, and it's easy. There is not much pain for the attackers. Domain name. Suppose I say that the attack is coming from xx.com, and I block this domain name. that will be easy for the attackers to change his domain names. He can continue making attacks to my systems from different domains. It's not very hard for him also. So network and host artifacts, if I find out his network IP range and basically try to block his traffic from this network host artifacts, that's annoying for the attackers, but it's not a great pain for the attackers. He can change his network host artifacts. And if he's using some tools to make the attack or initiate the attacks, I can block some of the tools or try to look details into the if the request is coming from those tools, I can put some intrusions detection systems against those tools. That will be challenging to for the attackers to change the tool tactics. It will be little bit challenging, but he can come up with a different weaponization method or set up create another tools to bypass my security methods. But if I am looking at the um, his behavioral, basically what we talk about in MITRE behavioral TTP, if I pay attention as a defender, pay attention to those TTP and check those TTP, then it will be very hard for the attackers to change his TTPs. That's why MITRE framework is used across almost all the organization in the world for defense. So these are the basically, if I pay attention to this one, attackers can pretty easily or without much challenge, he can change these tactics so that he can deliver the malicious payload. But if I try to focus and prevent these TTPs, then it will be hard for the attackers. So that's the pain point for the attackers or adversary. So from defense, we talk about basically from attack. There is a MITRE.attack that specify, it's a dictionary of what's the process or methods that's followed by the attackers, and also MITRE comes up with a defend framework. Defend framework will tell you basically they have similar to attack tactics. They have these 6 defense tactics: how to harden, detect, isolate, deceive, evict, and neutralize. So this is the defense defend MITRE defend framework, and these are 6 category or tactics: harden, detect, isolate, deceive, evict, and neutralize. So attack and MITRE attack and defense or defend works hand in hand together. So what we need to do, you have the attack framework, you have the MITRE defend network. Each attack actions or each TTP, they create a digital artifacts. For example, on the initial access, it will create a log or entry. If the attacker makes gain access to the systems, it will create a digital artifact. In the sense, basically, uh, the attack the as per the attack framework, it will create a digital artifacts. And what will be the digital artifact? Digital artifact will be
Just some
yes.
questions are coming in the chat box.
Okay.
So please check the chat box.
Yes.
Mr. Baral, you can do one thing. You first
Yes.
complete your detailed syllabus, then we will come to the question session.
Okay. So, if some attackers gain access to the system, so initial access, whenever you will have initial access, there will be a digital footprint that request somebody logged in to your systems, and it will be in the audit logs, right? Window applications logs, and it will be on the network logs that this from this IP address the request came, and if somebody logged into your computer, it will have a entry in the application access log, and that is the digital artifacts. And then you consume or ingest those digital artifacts on the defender side to identify, okay, this IP address I don't understand, or this IP address is coming from a different country, I am not supposed to uh, get it. So you take the actions on that, try to find out the detection mechanism. So you have the artifacts and you have the defend, they work side by side together, and you can identify. And this is useful in the sense it's used by it needs some expertise, and you need expertise basically to map attack and defend. But in organization experienced users, they what they do, I know all the, say for example, I work in the, say for example, I work in the financial industry. I know from the MITRE attack, I can find out what are the APT group that attacks financial companies. There is, if I tell that industry, education industry or a manufacturing sector, it can tells you, MITRE will tell you what are the APT that attacks educational institute, or what are the APTs across the world that attacks the financial institute. Fin 6 basically they attack financial institute, and Fin 41 they attack on the MITRE website. You choose the industry and it will tell which are APT basically that's attack those industries category. And once you identify all the APT, then you create a heat map that is pretty useful. Pretty useful. Say for example, APT 41 and APT 6, they might have some different, they use some different techniques to attack, but they have some common. So you need to find out, I find out, okay, say for example, I work in the finance industry and there are 6 APT group that attacks the financial industry. Then I will create a heat map, and it will tell you basically what are the common attacks methods or techniques these all these APT use. Say for example, out of 6 APTs, uh, all the APT they use T 1596. And then you want to make sure that you have a defense, because that is used across all the APT, all the 6 APT. Then what is the corresponding defense mechanism on your end, so that you can make the gap analysis. So okay, these are the most used techniques used by the attackers in the finance industry, and I work in the finance industry. What are the defense mechanism that I can develop? So that will help you with gap analysis and find out uh, what are the defense mechanism you are against those techniques. So and Microsoft, the this is also used by this MITRE defense and attack is used by the product development companies, security product development companies, including Microsoft, Google, you name any companies, to make the maps. Whenever they comes with their security product, I asked them, tell me what are the TPT, TTP that your product can cover. So that is basically whenever they develop the product, their product scope or product features, basically they come up with all the TTP they are covering. So whenever they go out to sell those product, I ask them what are the TTP that is covered by the uh, by your product. That's pretty helpful, so that I make sure that we have all the most useful TTP covered, and there is defense against those TTP. And then we are moving into privacy. Privacy is a interesting topic. So individual privacy, privacy basically you define what you want to share. Some people are very concerned about their personal data. Say for example, some people can tell their age or marital status. Some people will be hesitant to share his or her marital status, date of birth, those personal informations. But there is a paradox, what we call privacy paradox. Privacy paradox, basically people are concerned, people tells that they are concerned about the privacy, but on the digital world they don't act in the same wavelength. In the sense, basically they say that they are deeply concerned about their personal data, but whenever they are using any product, they are not concerned, they don't act accordingly. For example, whenever they are using if they see online a free product, uh, they can start using those free product and share their private data without fully understanding their the privacy process in place in the apps. So that's called uh, privacy paradox. And so that is personal, and it depends on the context. Say for example, privacy, people will tell that they don't share their personal data, but say for example, one of the website is telling that, okay, if you share your personal data like your address, your date of birth, we'll send you a coupon. Then many people will take it. Same things with the uh, online digital software like LinkedIn or even ChatGPT. If you are protecting, basically using free versions of LinkedIn might sell your data or use your data or share your data with other organization. But if you are taking the paid versions of LinkedIn or ChatGPT, you have the option to protect the data, so that you have a say whether they can share your data. You have all those privileges to manage your privacy. But if it's a free product, many people are not willing to pay rather than share their private data with other organization without their consent, but they are not ready to pay, even though they say that they are very concerned about their privacy. And in patient, it's different standard. It's high because patient data comes under PII data and PHI data, and the organization that holds or collect those data, they are responsible to protect those data. And why? Because they are regulated by the patient privacy. There are different compliance rules that the healthcare industry must follow, and also they need to uh, they they should protect the patient data, because otherwise they will lose the patient trust, and also the reputations, and also the patient data can be used, and it will basically, unless you protect it, it can be used in the fraud. So patient data is, and in the healthcare, there are four types of data. One is PII data, personal identifiable informations, protected health informations, genomics and biometrics, and behavioral and IoT data. Personal data, for example, your date of birth, marital, your name and first name, last name, date of birth comes under PII data, that will identify who you are. Protected health information is like my health informations like my diabetics A1C numbers, my triglyceride number, and health records. Whether I have any issue, I have diabetics, those kind of data comes under protected health informations. And all these basically PII is the superset and PHI is the subsets. That means basically whether I have a diabetics or not, that is PHI data as well as it will be PII data. But not all PII data is PHI data. Genomics and biometrics data, genomics data, for example, whether I have a gene and because of that gene, I inherit the high chance of diabetics. Those comes under genomic data. Your DNA or ancestry history, those comes under genomic data. And behavioral or IoT based data, basically your smartwatch or wearable smartwatch, your heart rate, sleeping patterns, your how many steps you took per day, those are part of the IoT based data or behavioral data. And on the healthcare industry, there are certain frameworks that the healthcare industry needs to follow. In USA, it's HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, and in Europe, GDPR is there. It's mostly financial, applicable to financial, but they have different categories. But there is also privacy that's part of the GDPR. And GDPR is applicable to all in Europe, and it's applicable to all the um, uh, European countries and its natives. And DPDP came up in India in 2023, that is Digital Personal Data Protections. Say for example, it's my data, how it will be collected and how it will be processed, and whether they have to collect the consent, what rights, whether I can back out. I am the principal. In under the DPDP, there will be if it's my data, I am the soul of those data. I am the owner, but somebody is managing my data. That is fiduciary. And what is the fiduciary duties? Basically, some of the fiduciary duties is like they have to clearly, if they are managing my data, they have to clearly tells that whenever they are transferring the data, they have to get my consent and it should be transparent. And if there is a data leak, they should inform me. And if they don't follow the DPDP, I think it can be fined up to 250 crores. And there is also California Consumer Protection Act, that local laws specific to California in USA. And DPDP, basically there are different entities. If it's my data, I am the principal. Then fiduciaries manage the data, and there is data processors that process the data. For example, under DPDP, if it's transferring, the fiduciary or the processor is transferring the data outside of India, then there are certain restrictions they can do, they cannot do. And we'll talk about what are some of the challenges in healthcare data, and how we can mitigate those. And electronics, so what is the digital transformations, what's happening? Electronics health records contains all the records. It has but there are certain challenges with electronic health records, because it can have multiple entry points or access points. For example, pharmacy, they have access to the electronics health record, and the doctors and nurses would have access to my EHR records, and also the labs have access to my EHR records. So the attack surface is more, because so many people outside the organization, they need to have access to my electronic health records. That brings up basically high security risk. And telemedicines and mobile apps. And you know that telemedicines, basically you make a video conference call with the doctors, and you are using Zooms or another video calls. They may not be compliant with uh, HIPAA or DPDP, because they are, whenever the data is transferred basically between the patient and the doctors through telemedicine or mobile apps, it may not be the channel you are using that may not be compliant. The Zoom or WhatsApp, whatever applications you are using, that may or may not be compliant with the uh, healthcare uh, frameworks. And so that's part of the what we talk about is privacy paradox. And AI based diagnostics and predicting. AI based diagnostic is enhance the healthcare efficiency, but it brings certain ethical and privacy issue into figure. Because for, say for example, if somebody is, we talk about CIAAA audit. Basically, if somebody read my data, there should be audit trail. If somebody modify my health records, there is audit trails in the manual systems. But in AI based systems, just imagine you have agentic AI, and agentic AI is making the diagnostic AI based diagnostic for you and for me. So in the audit trail, who will be the basically persons? It is, you call it agent, AI agent did the access my records for you and me, because there is no human. That's the biggest challenge about audit, because it's, for example, if some persons basically access my medical records, there will be record in the, there will be a audit trails that, okay, this person's RAM access my data on this date, this time, and if another persons did the same things for you, Hari did the same reading of your data in the audit trail, it will be Ram did read my data, and for you it's Hari read the data. But in AI based diagnostic systems, it will be same for all the patients, so there is no human, so that brings the audit compliance into question. And when you are storing those health records on cloud-based storage, basically that's a little bit challenge, because on cloud-based, basically you have the trust, but you don't have the visibility. You know that you don't have much visibility, like who access your records. And say, for example, you can talk about confidentiality and keys, basic, and some of the data, if you are managing your keys, then it's okay. If somebody takes your data, read your data, he cannot, because data is encrypted, and he or she don't have the keys, encryption keys to decrypt the data. But some of the data is managed by the cloud provider. If you are not using your own keys, basically, and the keys is managed by the cloud provider, then you don't know whether somebody decrypt your data and read the data. That visibility is not there if you are not using your own keys, but using cloud provider encryption keys. Uh, so threat landscape in healthcare, before, it was not the attackers or adversary was not attacking the healthcare, but that scenario has been changed for monetary gain. Um, for monetary gain also, the adversary is attacking the healthcare systems. You might have heard few years back, not very long, um, some attackers basically attack the AIMS data, All India Institute of Medical Science data, and they use some kind of ransomware to for monetary gain. So and also recently, one of the healthcare provider called United Healthcare in USA, the APT attackers, they encrypt their data for ransomware, and they took a lot of money from the United Healthcare company because they encrypt their data, and it's a um, patient data and patient and their claims data, and the company cannot able to access the claims data, and they have to pay the huge amount to the ransomware APT attackers to get the data back. And data leakage from third-party vendors, because your data is, if, for example, you are using the smartphone and some of the data is stored in the third-party vendors, and you don't have visibility basically where your data is. You don't have any consent who is use your data. You have zero visibility uh, about the data that's being stored on your smartphone or wearable devices. So, and there will be impact whenever there is a data breach. So, if patient data is exposed, basically companies are liable to financial penalties. For example, in case of DPDP, the companies can be fined up to 250 crores. And also, if there is a ransomware attack, there will be delay in treatment, and patient, say for example, because of ransomware, patient data cannot be accessed, so surgery and other treatment cannot be done in a timely manner. And also it will bring loss of reputation and patient trust with the healthcare provider if there is a data breach. And so privacy and cybersecurity go hands in hands. Privacy is basically protection of personal rights. Cybersecurity protect the systems and healthcare data, and they go hands in hands. Basically, if cybersecurity is basically protect the data, and that protects the privacy. Without security, privacy is impossible. What are some of the cyber security controls that supports privacy? As I said, encryption, you have the it brings the confidentiality. You encrypt the data at rest, in transit, as well as in process. In process encryption is little bit challenging, but it's easy to encrypt the data at rest in transit. That will basically that will bring the confidentiality in your data, because if it's encrypted, nobody can able to access those data.
Mr. Ajit Baral, sorry for interruption. And now this is the question and answer discussion time.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we will take the question from the participant. You can see
Okay.
it in the chat box. Otherwise, I am putting forward the question that has come from the participant. The
Okay.
participant Samir Kumar Patra has given a question. The question is, even if you develop the robot system, still it is attacked by the attacker. Is there any model which can combat it?
Mm, see, so APT, as I said, APT, there is the answer is 100% no. 100% no model or risk management framework will give you 100% guarantee that there will be no attack. But some of the things it can, because the attack surface is large. You have employees, say for example, you have a hospital, and there are hundreds of employees. There are doctors and nurse and everybody. Everybody should be vigilant. So and you have a computer, you have different IoT devices, you have so many devices, you have MRI machines, you have CT scan machines, and so your attack surface is kind of very large. You protect your computer, but there will be vulnerability with the MRI systems, which is not patched. There will always be some kind of vulnerability, and there is also zero-day vulnerability. And employee, basically, even though you provide the employee training and there is a chance that there will be phishing attack, because everybody is not vigilant. But what you can do, you can put a detection mechanism so that if some things data exfiltration is happening, you can command and control C2 attacks is happening, your network detection systems can identify so that you can have minimum data loss, or you can slow down the attack surface. Say for example, APT users, if you detect one time, they never go back, they will come back with different tools, because say for example, a country is backing the attackers. Russia is backing the attackers. You get the attacks. You day one you get attack. You identify and block it. That does not stop them from attacking again. They will come up with different tools. So it's a cat and mouse game. It's not. And what you can do basically, you slow down the process, and even though they get access to your computer, then they will get access to the network, but they cannot do much work. Ransomware they cannot do, because they need a privilege account, they need a access to the admin account. They gain access to the computer, they gain access to my network through my computer, but I am a regular user. For ransomware attack, they need a privileged users, what we call admin accounts. You slow down the process, yes, and as soon, and there will be detection mechanism, like if somebody infiltrate you, how fast you can detect them. Say for example, you have security personnel at your desk, but if somebody unauthorized persons gain access to the building, how soon you can able to detect. That is most important. Unless so your detection mechanism, unless you see, you cannot protect. So your detection mechanism should be there. But as I said from the initial, you can slow down, you can detect early, but you cannot completely shut down the attack or make it zero. Does that answer your question? I tried to the best of my ability what I have seen in my career.
Yes,
Even
sir. Yes.
Microsoft, even just to tell you, few months back, basically, they have Microsoft. Basically, there is some flaws in the Microsoft systems, and they gain access to uh, the what we call external affairs systems of US government and trade systems of US government. Of course, it was detected, and I can talk about how it was detected, because the attackers, they work 9 to 5, right? And that is unusual time in USA. That's why how they first find out there is an attack on their systems. But even USA government top secret systems basically sometimes get hacked. And how soon, how fast they detect, that is more important. That minimize the damage.
Okay, thank you
I can
so
take
much.
the next. I can take
Thank you
any
so
other questions.
uh, Sir, another question is it possible to put viruses in protected data set by using public data set of our system? This is
Uh,
from Indra
but
Patram.
that's possible. Basically, uh, so the recommendation, it's not always possible, but they say that don't the recommendation is don't, whenever you are processing, your secret data should be processed in different systems. It and as I said, you can encrypt your data in transit. It's easy. You can encrypt your data in transit at rest. That is easy, but in process encryption is difficult. There is new method coming up, basically without decrypting the data, you can able to process the data. The new methodology that's basically Google's and other companies are started using whenever they process the data, but it's not drilled down to the small or medium scale organization. But that's one of the area. You encrypt your data, and somebody can process, healthcare systems can process your data without looking at the data. That brings basically confidentiality.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Over to Dr. Sir.
Thank you very much, sir. for your insightful and thought-provoking session on cybersecurity and data privacy in e-health systems, and your detailed explanation of cybersecurity frameworks, data protection regulation, and the importance of trust in healthcare technology truly enhanced our understanding of this critical domain. We deeply appreciate your time and valuable insight shared with your participant today. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and I really appreciate the opportunity to make these presentations, and thanks for your valuable time.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Over to Tripathy, ma'am.
Now moving ahead, we have another fascinating session that highlights the intersection of technology and medicine, robotics in modern medical practice. This session will focus on how robotics is bringing in surgery, rehabilitation, and patient care, offering precision, efficiency, and innovative treatment options that were once unimaginable. Our esteemed speaker for this session is Dr. Jagannath Tripathy, consultant who brings immense expertise in the clinical applications of advanced robotic system in healthcare. To formally introduce our distinguished speaker, I now invite Mr. Kaustubh Chandra Dev to introduce Dr. Jagannath Tripathi. Kaustubh sir, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Tripathy madam. So I take the privilege here to introduce our next speaker for the session. So the speaker is Dr. Jagannath Tripathi, and he is a highly accomplished medical professional with specialized training in cardiac anesthesia, critical care, and pain management. He earned his MBBS degree from MKCG Medical College, Berhampur University, Odisha, and has completed his MD in anesthesia from Sri MP Shah Medical College, Saurashtra University. Further, enhancing his expertise in healthcare administration, he pursued an MBA from BITS Pilani, focusing on hospital and healthcare management system. Over the course of his career, Dr. Tripathi has been associated with several prestigious hospitals and healthcare institutions, which includes AIMS, New Delhi, Max Super Specialty Hospital, Saket, New Delhi, King's Hospital, Care Hospitals, and currently he is serving at Apollo Hospital, Bhubaneswar, continuing his commitment to excellence in anesthesia and critical care. So I welcome you, sir, and I hand over the session to you for further proceedings. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you. Myself, Dr. Jagannath Tripathi. I am now working in Apollo Hospital, Bhubaneswar. So today our topic is on a big, interesting topic, that is robotics, robotic surgery, future trends, and its role in rehabilitation and other things. So today we'll first discuss regarding the evolution of robotics. So the first robot was discovered in 1985. So the name of that robot is Puma 560, and recently we are performing 2020 It is now AI integrated robots. So basically, as you know, surgery is generally performed by surgeon. The surgeon have some limitation as a human being. For example, some surgeon have tremors, and there is a because generally surgeon operate with two hands, so the degree of freedoms are comparatively less. But when we perform the surgery with help of robots, the degree of freedom increases. Generally, for a human being, generally the degree of freedom is 170 degree. Whereas in a surgical robot, it is 540 degrees. Means the precision is better there. This incision is very small one. Tissue handling will be very less amount, so that the pain, post-operative pain will be very less. Bleeding chances are very less. And due to less tissue handling, the chance of infection and post-operative complications are very minimal with robotics. And there are some special advantages with respect to surgery in particular cases. For example, lymph node dissection. This is very crucial in case of cancer patient. And some knob sparing is required. For example, we perform surgery on prostate. There are some knobs and vessels are intricately attached with organs. So if it is damaged, then there will be definite post-operative complication in form of there may be chance that the patient have urinary problem, urinary retention may be there, urinary incontinence will be there. So to avoid this complication, robotics is coming in a great way. So there are some new robots which are there. For example, Da Vinci system. Da Vinci system is now the recent robot which is recently used in Apollo Hospital, Hyderabad. Here we have a surgeon console, vision card, and patient card. So there are three things which are attached. It is total the Da Vinci system. This is called Da Vinci, and it is an intuitive surgical instrument. And the degree of freedoms are around. The degree of freedom is 7 around. And generally, as a human being, we can rotate our hand up to 170 degree. But in case of robot, the precision is better and the blood loss is minimal. The incision is a very small one, so the post-operative complication will be very minimal. And already, as I have told, the chance of infection because very less because there is less tissue handling is there. So if the tissue handling is more, the infection and the bleeding will be more. And the precision is better with robots. These are the peculiar things which is available with robots. And another thing, this is a robotic surgery system, and there is a tremor filtration unit is there. So by which we can filter the tremors, which is intrinsically associated with a human being. For example, some old surgeons are there, they have tremors. So if there is tremor is there, then it will hamper the surgical acuity and precision. So to avoid that, we have a filtration system which will eliminate the tremor part. So why robotics matter in OR? The patient benefits, as already we have discussed, smaller incision, reduced scarring, less blood loss, and post-operative pain is less because the post-operative pain is mainly due to knob damage. So if there are some knobs which are not seen on human eyes, so these are precisely can be seen with 3D magnification. Generally, in a human being, what is the our magnification? It is almost 10 to 15 times enhanced. So there is a 3D camera is there. So with that camera, we can precisely see the blood vessels and nerve endings. So we have to avoid that blood vessels and nerve to avoid this post-operative pain. As there is chance, because generally in hospital we perform the surgery, the patient has to stay minimum 5 to 7 days because the incision is bigger one with conventional surgery. But when the robots comes into the play, so the incision is very small one, so the patient can get recovery or can be discharged very quickly from the hospital. Hardly 1 or 2 days, 48 hours. The stay is only 48 hours. Faster return to the normal activity, so the patient burden to the society will be less, and there is a lesser chance of infection due to minimal tissue handling, because here we give respect to the tissue, and tissue planes are, if properly taken care of, then the chance of infection are very less. What are the benefit to the surgeon? Here, the visualization is better. Already, as I have told, there is a 3D magnification camera is there, which is where the image magnification is up to the tune of 15 times. And by that, and we can see and perform the surgery where hand cannot reach there. And here the improved ergonomics reduce the physical strain, because there are some surgeries, for example, colorectal cancer surgeries, that takes almost 5 hours, 6 hours. There, as a human being, there is a chance that the surgeon may get fatigued. So for that reason, here we have a reduced physical strain, and here the surgeon can sit in the console and can perform the surgery. There is easy access to the difficult anatomical areas. Some areas where human hand cannot reach, there we can do the surgery with minimal tissue handling and with minimal space. For example, we cannot keep a tie or a suture tie where the space is very less. But in robotics, we can do suturing and can do cutting in in a remote area, in very difficult anatomical area. And there is a reduced fatigue during complex procedure, because cancer surgeries are very complex. The surgeons are prone to fatigue. So in that case, it reduces the fatigue. And here the clinical outcome is better, because the clinical outcome depends upon the node clearance, because there are some nodes. Nodes means lymph nodes are there. So that lymph nodes, if it is not properly taken care of, for example, if lymph nodes are not cleared, or if it is not taken cut or is not removed, then there are chance of cancer recurrence. So for that reason, we with robotics, the chance of cancer clearing, or we can tell the cancer recurrence rates, are very less, and the the patient satisfaction. So there are different surgery, different specialties where we can use robot. For example, urology surgery, for example, prostate surgery. Prostate is a gland which is mainly it is mainly affected in cancers of prostate cancer. So in that case, when you do prostatectomy, removal of the prostatectomy means the removal of prostate. Kidney surgery, urological surgery, there we have to remove the kidney. Some bladder reconstruction and enhanced nerve sparing technique means there are some structure nerves are intricately involved, which maintain the continence of urine. Means if that nerves are damaged, there are chance of urinary incontinence. To avoid that, we use robotics surgery. With that means if the knobs are preserved, then the chance of urinary incontinence is decreased. In general surgery such as hernia repair, colorectal procedure, and bariatric surgery. Bariatric surgery means it is the surgery performed for overweight. In morbidly obese patient, we have to perform the surgery. That surgery is called bariatric surgery. So in that case, we need a robot. So in that cases, the recovery rate is better. Long resection means there are in some cases of disease condition of lungs are there. For example, tuberculosis of lung. When the tuberculosis affect lung, we have to resect the lung. Otherwise, that damaged lungs will not help. So we generally remove that part of lung. That is called lung resection, mediastinal tumor. You might have heard about thymoma. Thymoma is an anterior mediastinal tumor that generally present as mediastinal syndrome. That is present as superior vena cava syndrome. So in that subset of patients generally present with breathlessness on exertion. They cannot lie down flat. So that mediastinal tumor generally thymoma, that cases generally we use thoracic surgery. For that thoracic surgery, generally we can use robots with there also to preserve the lung function, because the robots preserve the lung function there. Some special surgeries such as gynecological surgery, hysterectomy, myomectomy, endometriosis. Endometriosis means in endometriosis, the particular condition is called endometriosis, means there is a painful condition which occurs in menstruating women during their periods, because they have a particular endometrial structure. Endometrials is there, and it is implanted in pelvic, in lower part of abdomen, and that caused excruciating pain during menstruation. So that they are very hardy to remove, very difficult to manage with painkiller. Generally, if it is, unless it is cleared properly, then there occurs pain repeatedly during menstruation. So endometriosis is very difficult and it needs very high surgical skill. Most of the surgeons are not confident in doing endometriosis surgery, endometric surgery. So in that case, where it is challenging, so in that case we require robotics. Next, cardiac surgery. There are some valve surgeries such as mitral valve, aortic valve. There are 4 valves in heart. So in valve surgeries, now the robotics has come into play, because as we have already discussed, the incision here we put a minimal small incision and recovery is better, but blood loss is less. Coronary artery bypass. Coronary artery bypass is mainly for coronary artery disease. Mostly that subset of patient presents with chest pain and breathlessness on exertion. So that subset of patient need coronary artery bypass, means that part of heart muscle is the blood supply is decreased. Because of decreased blood supply, there occurs chest pain during exertion, or it may be at rest. And the pain, may be pain, as well as patient may present with shortness of breath, and sometimes the patient may present with sudden cardiac arrest. So in that subset of patient, we do coronary artery bypass. So in that case, we can use robots with small incision, because generally in coronary artery bypass, we do sternotomy. Sternotomy means cutting the sternum, that is breast bone. So that is very painful, because the sternum is very superficial and it is attached with a long knob, 3 knob endings. So there is severe excruciating pain. So patient it is so painful that we have to make the patient sleep for 1 day on ventilator with high dose of analgesic in form of fentanyl and some sedatives. And we have to make the patient relax for 1 day. Almost for 1 day, we keep the patient on ventilator. So once all the parameters are within normal limit, then we extubate or we can remove the patient from the ventilator. So in that subset of patient, we can perform this coronary artery bypass using a small incision. So in that case, we can use robots. Orthopedics surgery, for example, joint replacement. Now the navigation system has come into orthopedics joint replacement, mostly in the knee replacement, where the precision matters a lot, because there, if it is not properly taken care of, there are chance of osteoarthritis. So again, requiring joint replacement in future. So in that subset of patient, we need robots. Spinal surgery and computer planning and execution. Spinal surgery also we can use robots. So these are some robots which are used in rehabilitation robotics in action. The names are exoskeleton, hand effector device, therapeutic robots. So these are some restoring function and independence. So robots accelerate clinical. What are the clinical advantages? Intensive training, objective measurement, and customize intensity and reduce strain. So now the current, what are the challenges? Now major challenge is cost barrier, training requirement, and access disparity, and regularity of complex and evidence of gap. Means these are the challenges. Mostly the robots is very highly cost effective, almost up to the tune of 1 to 2.5 million per system. So it is very difficult for a common hospital or a common man to reach such high, afford that price. So this is the number one challenge, that is cost barrier. Then training requirement, because not every surgeon is trained in this robotic system, and there is a limited availability in developing region and rural healthcare facility. And regulatory complexity, insurance reimbursement challenges, because now the insurance system is not so developed that it is reimbursing this robotic surgery. And there is a evidence gap, means need a long-term outcome, because we have not compared, we don't have we don't have studies where we can tell that robotics is generally better compared with traditional surgeries. But definitely the future is robotics, because surgical revolution has come. It has role in rehabilitation excellence, patient-centered care, continuous, there is innovations are going on. So the evolution key area are surgical robots, rehabilitation robotics, diagnostic and therapeutic robots, and hospitalization out system. So these are the diverse application in healthcare. First is surgical robots, rehabilitation robots, and hospital service robots, telepresence robots, and diagnostic robots. So surgical robots assist the surgeon with minimal invasive procedures, such as the Da Vinci surgical system. Already we have discussed. Here we have a surgeon's console, vision card, and patient card. So these are the 3 systems where we perform the complex surgery. The surgeon sit in a console, and they operate with their hand and foot using the foot pedal and hand some knobs. Rehabilitation robots support the physical therapy and recovery. Mostly during post-operative physiotherapy, we use this type of rehabilitation. Rehabilitation means once the surgery over, we have to make the patient walk. So this is called rehabilitation. Rehabilitation means making the patient come to his normal activity. So in that subset of robots mostly use in rehabilitation programs. Hospital service robots, mostly automated medication delivery and disinfection, mostly UV disinfection and TUG robots. Telepresence robots enable the remote consultation and monitoring for improved access to care. Telepresence. For example, I am sitting here and I can do remote consultation with a patient sitting in Assam or in a remote part of India. So this is called telepresence robot. Next is diagnostic robots. It assists in imaging and laboratory procedure with enhanced precision. Diagnostic means where we use imaging and laboratory procedure. For example, CT scan or MRI. In that case, we use diagnostic robot. So these are the precision at surgeon fingertips. First is enhanced 3D visualization. Already we have discussed tremor filtration because old surgeon there are chances that they have tremors. Tremors means shaking of hands. So we call in medical terms called tremor. Generally, there are three types of tremor. Some patient or some surgeons have essential tremor, or sometimes because of stress also there are chance that surgeon may have shaking of hands. To eliminate that, we have a tremor filtration system which eliminate the tremor so that the chance of injury to the adjacent structures are very less. Superior range of motion. Generally, already we have discussed. Generally, we as a human being we have a 170-degree rotation. We can move our hand in the surgical field that is maximum 170 degree. Whereas in robot we have a 360 plus 180 that all together comes to 540 degree and almost 7 degree of freedom. Degree of freedom means already I think you must have known degree of freedom is range of motion. So it is 7 degree of freedom and minimally invasive access. Small incision, reduced trauma, scarring, and recovery time for the patient is better. So popular systems are Da Vinci is the most common surgical system, most widely used. The ROSA system is for knee and brain system. Marco, this is a smart robotics in orthopedic surgery. Mostly they're applicable in cardiac surgery, urological procedure, gynecological procedure, thoracic procedure, and general surgery. So it empowers the recovery and mobility. So rehabilitation robots assist the patient recovering from strokes because in stroke patient the conscious levels is less. So generally the patients are mostly bedridden. In spinal cord injuries, their patients are also bedridden. Traumatic injury, the patients are bedridden. Neurological cases, also the patients are bedridden. If the patients are bedridden, there chance that the patient may catch up infection. So to prevent that, we need early ambulation. So for that early ambulation, we need rehabilitation and recovery. Because once the patient start walking and out of the bed, so chance the burden to the hospital and to the society decreases, and the chance of infection are less. So we have to mobilize the patient as quickly as the surgery is over or as the patient recovers, we have to make the patient uh, walk and go home. So for that reason, we need robo, and it needs provide a consistent and intensive and measurable therapy that accelerate healing and restorative function. There are different type of robo which are used in recovery and mobility, exoskeleton and gait training, robotic system that support guide walking movements, upper limb device. These are the therapeutic robots targeting arm and rehabilitation process. Assistive system, daily living support for the patient with mobility changes. VR integrated therapy, mostly it is for immersive rehabilitation combining with robotics and virtual environment. So there are technology driving recoveries, lower limb robots. There are some lower limb rehabilitation robots such as Locomot, VWAC, and ESMO, Indigo, and upper limb rehabilitation robots are Might, Manus, Armio, In Motion, ARM. These are upper limb rehabilitation. Enhanced patient outcome. With robots, we have a precision and accuracy because there are sub-millimeter precision in surgical procedure. For example, in some biopsy, if you don't perform the biopsy on appropriate structure, you can miss the diagnosis. So to facilitate precise diagnosis, we need sub-millimeter precision in surgical procedure. So here the reduced human error are more if you done by surgeon or because their chance of there maybe because if they perform more surgery, their chance they may be error may be there. Surgeon may get fatigue. So to prevent that, we need this type of robot. It should be consistency in delivery system in rehabilitation and minimally invasive procedure, small incision leading to less scarring. Because if you do a small incision, the chance of scarring will be less. Because if you do a small incision, the blood vessels are less amount of blood vessels are cut during surgery. So in that case, so blood loss will be less because here the incision is very small, so the chance of tissue handling and the we respect the different layers of the muscles are properly taken care. So if the tissue handling is more, the chance of infection is more. So if the tissue handling is low, so infection rates are low. So because of robotics, the chance of infection is very less because proper surgical planes are cut proper. So the infection rates are less. There is a faster recovery time and the patient returns to his normal activity because generally for a robotic surgery, generally 24 to 48 hours, the patient comes to his normal activity, whereas in conventional method, it takes 5 to 7 days. Sometimes if the infection sets in, so chance of recovery may be further delayed. Improve access to the care because in some areas, whereas remote surgical capabilities in under-region areas, consistency in the quality of care regardless of location. Expert consultations are available worldwide. And for example, we can do teleconsultation from one place to a very remote place. So these are the advanced things which we get in form of enhanced patient outcomes. Now coming to advanced healthcare delivery, enhanced rehabilitation outcome in form of intensive and repetitive therapy that human cannot sustain. Objective measurement and data tracking can be done. Customizable therapy program increase patient motivation through gamification operational efficiency, reduce hospital stay and associated cost, because it is not only the patient stay, the other relations or the family members has to stay. So that add to the cost to the patient, that increases the burden to the patient. So that reduces hospital stay, overall reduces the cost to the patient. Optimize the surgical scheduling and automation of routine hospital tasks, better resource allocation across the department. Surgeon and staff benefits are in form of ergonomics working position, reducing the physical strain, because the number of personnel involved in robotics are less compared to conventional surgery. In conventional surgery, we need almost team of 6 to 7 people, whereas in robotics we need hardly three persons. Mostly a main surgeon who stay who operates in console, and another surgeon who sits beside the patient. Another person, another sister is required who assists the surgeon, and the surgeon who is staying be- beside the patient. So hardly three persons are required, but major problem is cost. Here the another advantage is enhanced visualization and control during procedure. Here the environment is controlled because it is precise, and you cannot perform error in case of robotic surgery, whereas there are chance of error when you will perform in conventional procedure. Reduce occupational hazards and injuries, because reduce occupational hazard in form of long surgical hours to the surgeon, because surgeons may also get fatigued, the paramedics also get fatigued. So it reduces the occupational hazard to the healthcare professional as well as injuries. Some injuries may happen during performing surgery, because there are chance that knife or needle stick injuries may happen while performing surgery. So that can be avoided with robotic surgery, because it is precise and the number of personnels involved in the surgery are only three, whereas in conventional surgery it may range from 4 to 5. Extended career longevity for the surgeon, because stress is less. So there is here the extended career longevity for the surgeon, because some surgeries require high degree of precision and long duration of stay or long duration of standing. So that creates a pressure, and that pressure may lead to decrease in the lifespan of the surgeon, because some surgeons get specifically cardiac and neurosurgeon, they are highly prone to stress, because they perform surgery for 8 hours, 10 hours. Sometimes redo surgeries happens. So they are sometimes the surgery goes in midnight also. So to prevent that, there is a extended, to prevent that, we have robotic system coming up, so that produce that lead to extended career longevity for the surgeon. So what are the navigating path forward? So main current challenges are high investment cost, because the robot cost is very high. There is a definite training requirement, because hardly there are some places in India or in southern part of India, only Hyderabad, Chennai, they are performing the training program. There is steep learning curve for medical professional adopting to the new system, because it needs a steep learning curve. It cannot learn the thing in one day. We have to gradually upgrade and learn this robotic surgery. Limited accessibility, because only developing region has the mostly in the it is accessible in remote only in some areas. For example, in Hyderabad or in Chennai, In some hospital, for example, in Apollo, there are some robotic surgery. In Apollo Hyderabad, they are performing robotic surgery. Not in all Apollos, only in central Apollos they are doing robotic surgery. Regularly, the regulatory landscape, complex ethical consideration, and approval procedure are involved. And patient acceptance, most important, because patient has to accept the thing, because cost is a major factor which make the patient not to accept the offer, because generally the cost of the surgery is very high compared to the conventional method. So we have to build uh, trust in robotic assisted procedure, and it takes some time. The future innovation in form of AI powered autonomy, enhanced haptic feedback, miniaturization means smaller robots components are available for less invasive intervention. Brain-computer interface, direct neural control for rehabilitation device, 5G enabled surgery, ultra low latency remote operation and real-time monitoring is required. Personalized therapy, robotic treatment is customized to patient genetics and need. So that is personalized medicine or personalized therapy. Means robotic customized to the particular patient genetics and need. So we have to make personalized, because a particular person is having particular gene. For example, particular cancer gene is there. So for that, we need a particular robotic treatment customized to the particular patient and his need. Now coming to the future of healthcare in robotics. Revolutionizing care of delivery. Medical robotics is transforming surgery, rehabilitation, hospital operation with unprecedented precision and efficacy. Next is new hope for the patient, because rehabilitation robots offers a innovative solution for patient with mobility impairment and neurological condition, because manpower is a major challenge for in rehabilitation. So the rehabilitation robots offers an innovative solution for the patients with mobility impairment and neurological condition, particularly stroke patients. Measurable benefits, because it is precise, reduced invasiveness, better outcome, improved operational efficiency across the healthcare. Now still continued innovations are going on, ongoing advance promises more accessible and sophisticated robotics healthcare solution for all population, because robotic systems are big one, so the miniature form is coming. So the continuous innovation is going on in this field. Robotics in medicine represent not a replacement of human expertise, but an enhancement of it, combining the precise use of machine with judgment and compassion of healthcare professional to deliver the optimal patient care. The future trend is robotic surgery and innovation transferring to the next era of medical practice. So this is the evolution of surgical precision. Robotic surgery was fundamentally revolutionized, minimized invasive procedure in first 3 decades by combining the unprecedented precision with enhanced surgeon control and significant smaller incision. And this system has transformed the patient outcome and recovery times. The future of this technology promises even more remarkable advances in greater autonomy, artificial intelligence integration, and expanded accessibility to the surgical excellence worldwide. These are the 3 decades of innovation. 1990, the beginning, 2020 to 2000 to 2020 widespread adaptation, and 2025 and beyond the intelligence era, next generation system incorporating artificial intelligence, advanced data analytics, and augmented reality are transforming the surgical capability and outcome. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is that the real-time decision support, adaptive learning system, and enhanced precision. Now the augmented and virtual reality integrations are coming with 3D anatomical visualization and pre-surgical planning and intraoperative navigation, mostly for critical structure, blood vessel, and optimal incision pathway during surgery. This is the haptic feedback and sensory enhancement system, mostly advanced tactile sensor, and it is made of force feedback technology, improves surgical outcome. These are the miniaturization and micro robotics, mostly in capsule robots. These are the miniature robotic device navigate internally through gastrointestinal tract, performing diagnostic endoscopy and targeted intervention without external incision. Because in endoscopy, we generally in conventional endoscopy we put a endoscope. It's a big one, just like a rope, and it is very painful and very uncomfortable for the patient. We have to give sedation anesthesia or to that subset of patient. But in capsular robot, we have a miniature robotic device which can go in our intestinal tract and catch images, and that images and we can know what is the diagnosis in particular area. For example, stomach, esophagus, that robots catch the image and give the idea. Next, cardiac microsurgery, ultra small instrument enable the precision repair of heart valves and vessel through catheter-based approach, dramatically reducing the patient trauma. Mostly it is in cardiac microsurgery and balloon valvuloplasty like things. Targeted intervention, micro robots deliver medication, perform the biopsy, and conduct minimally invasive procedure in previously inaccessible anatomical location. These are 5G connectivity and remote surgery we can do in ultra fast network. Fifth generation wireless technology provide the ultra low latency and high bandwidth essential for real-time surgical control across a vast distance. Global telesurgery, expert surgeon can perform the complex operation. For example, a complex operation to be performed in Bhubaneswar, but the surgeon stays in Hyderabad, who is expert, and his expertise can be utilized in Bhubaneswar, in Assam. There we can use the expertise of a surgeon. The surgeon will sit in the console and do his movements, and finally the surgery will be performed in a remote location, eliminating the geographical barrier to specialized surgical care. Expanded access. Remote and rural communities gain access to the world-class surgical expertise. For example, a person sitting in Northeast can get the benefit of cancer surgery from a surgeon sitting in Chennai without requiring the patient travel and specialty relocation. But cost is a major hindrance. Now coming to personalized and data-driven surgery. Patient-specific data, for example, advanced imaging, genomic profiles, anatomical model creates a detailed digital twin for each patient unique physiology. Adaptive robotics, surgical robots dynamically adjust their movement and approach based on their individual patient anatomy, tissue characteristic, and real-time feedback. This is called adaptive robotics. And optimize outcome. Personalized surgical planning, improve the precision, enhance safety protocol, and accelerate the patient recovery time significantly. The future is now the convergence of artificial intelligence, advanced robotics, enhanced connectivity, and personalized medicine, creating an unprecedented opportunity in surgical innovation. These emerging technologies promises to be democratize the access to the expert surgical care and improve the patient outcome and redefine what is possible in an operating room. The future of surgery lies not in replacing surgeon, but amplifying the human expertise with intelligence and adaptive technology. Thank you.
Participant, is there any question? If you have any question, you can put it in the chat box. Sir, I have one question.
Yes, madam.
Sir, in case of your robotic surgery, how can we, the human being, can get the trust that the operation will be successful by the robots? Is there any way that we can achieve the trust? Because we can trust the human being, we can trust the doctor, we can trust you, but how do we trust on the robot?
And ultimately, the surgeon is performing the surgery only. Robot is facilitating the surgery because it is not, as we already discussed, because we are not replacing surgeon. We are helping the surgeon to perform the surgery, and with technology, we are eliminating some factors. For example, tremor we can eliminate, because in a big surgeon or some surgeon they have some tremor, fatigue will be there with long duration of surgery. So that negative part we can eliminate, and we can trust once we get a testimonial or we can get a feedback who have already operated by a surgeon, because we get trust with similar complaint and similar story from another patient, then we can get trust. For example, my one relative got operated in Chennai with robotic gynecological surgery. Once I see that patient is doing good, so if he or she tells that this is my story, the patient, I'm doing good and my recovery is better, my post-operative pain is less, my blood loss was less, and my post-operative that incision site is less. So that we can have a trust that this is doing good thing. So once it comes, because robotic surgeries are now, it is a very high class and sophisticated surgery. Mostly it is used in case of cancer surgery. For example, already we have discussed prostate surgery, colorectal cancer. There we are getting robotics surgery because the precision is better there, because the node clearance, lymph node clearance is better, chance of recurrence is less, chemotherapy and the post-operative radiotherapy is less. So in that case, once we get a story or we got just a same type of example, then we have a trust. So I think gradually we will have a trust.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, another question is from another participant, Mohini Prasad Misra. His question is sometimes human surgeon take on the spot decision to do some additional task. But what about robot? Does robot take on the spot decision if situation arises for the betterment of the patient?
Hey, what actually it is not the only surgeon or not only the robot who takes the decision. It is a combined effort of surgeon and robot because surgeon robot cannot do it on its own. It is the slave. It's called slave system. It has to obey the surgeon. You understand my point? Na? For example, I am performing a surgery. If the surgeon doesn't tell that you cut this one or you cut this one, this robot cannot cut. So that is the primary thing.
So again, another question is from Susri Rao. Can robots perform CPR with more precision than human?
Yes, yes, you are absolutely. It's a good question. Being an anesthetist, I like this question because CPR is my expertise. So actually, CPR needs a high what is called higher level of energy because CPR is a very uh, tedious job. It's almost 20 minutes, five people have to do it, and it needs teamwork of five persons. So chest compression is the most crucial part in CPR. So that needs lot of energy because we have to push on the chest of the patient who is the victim. So that needs a lot of energy and precision because if you press hard, if you don't allow recoil, the chance of CPR won't be fruitful. So in that case, we need a precision and we need a energy and we need for long time. So in that case, now the robots, there some systems are coming who which is doing on their own. There's mechanical CPR devices are coming, one on the chest, one on the back of the uh, patient or a victim. We can it it just press the chest like this. Continuously, the chest compression will be there. And we need a higher rate, almost 100 to 120 rate of compression rate of compression is required, and which is practically impossible by per person, and we cannot replicate in all situations. For example, I am trained, I can do CPR, but in some places where the personnels are were not trained, in that case, it is reproducibly it can be done or can be achieved with robots. So definitely robots can perform CPR with more precision.
Thank you so much, sir. Now over to Kaustubh, sir.
Well, thank you, sir, for your valuable inputs. You had thrown a light on why robotics in surgical operations. You also gave us an idea about what were the advantages of using robots. You also gave a detailed view about what is the future trend. And you said that future trend is going to be robotic surgery. So once again, I thank you, sir, for your valuable session which you have given, and I hope all the participants enjoyed the session. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
So now there is a request to all the participants. I would request all the participants to switch on their camera so that we can take a group photo. It's a humble request. I request all the participants to please switch on their camera so that we can take a group photo. all the participants to kindly switch on their camera so that we can take a group photo. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anand.